Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're out here talking about rhubarb. I wanted to share a few things, and I did a little research myself to kind of get better knowledge on the actual rhubarb plant itself, and I found some pretty interesting things. Rhubarb is one of the top 10 plants that I would always grow because it is such low maintenance, requires little water, and it grows in almost any soil quality. This is a great plant for your food forest or for beginners who are just learning how to plant their garden and get everything situated. Rhubarb basically takes care of itself. All you have to do is harvest it. I will say that you want to let your rhubarb grow before it freezes. You want to let it get some good growth and let it die and wilt back on its own so it can pull the extra nutrients into the ground, and then you can clear it or cover it with more wood chips or bedding. And we do this at the end of the summer. We will harvest our rhubarb all summer long, and then about a month before our freeze and the hard frosts start coming, we will just let it grow and let it do its thing in order to allow it to produce enough nutrients to survive and thrive throughout the winter and into next spring and summer. Now, rhubarb being dated all the way back to the 16th century and being logged as traded and bartered from the Chinese, rhubarb had actually originated in China. It was not a native plant to the Americas. So this is a great imported plant. It's a very easy plant for beginners, and it gives bountiful harvest. The Chinese used rhubarb as food and medicine because it had anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties, so it helped in the aiding of healing your sores or skin ailments. Rhubarb also contains a lot of antioxidants in its stalks and in its fluid, making it an all-around great nutritious food with health benefits. Now, 1 pound of fresh rhubarb yields about 3 cups or so of cut up rhubarb, yielding about 2 cups or so of cooked and boiled rhubarb. But on the other hand, those rhubarb leaves are poisonous for us and for our chickens, so we do not eat them, and we basically will harvest our rhubarb and set the leaves around the plant. It had a nice mini canopy for itself. It was shading the ground around itself. So we're taking all of that shade and moisture holding ability away from our rhubarb, potentially slowing the process of it growing back faster. So we will just always lay the leaves around the plant that we had just harvested to kind of give it a better moisture content and hold that moisture in the ground, as opposed to letting it evaporate and kind of putting the nutrients back into the soil around the plant. The next thing I wanted to talk about before I let everybody go is the actual propagation of rhubarb itself. This is a nice rhubarb I've had in our aquaponics back here for probably about a week now, and it was definitely throwing some new growth off. I had accidentally pulled this one up out of the ground in our large greenhouse, and the soil was so soft and didn't really have a good grab in there that I had pulled this right out, and I wanted to show everyone exactly how I do this. Hopefully it splits for me perfect. Yeah, there we go. So I've got those 2 pieces of rhubarb, both going to grow. They're both going to go right back into our aquaponics so they can kind of recharge before we put them into pots, and that is the next step of this. So we've propagated about 50 rhubarb plants just like this off of 1 plant that we had at the beginning of the summer. We had many more plants, but we had one that had been going for like 20 years. It was absolutely massive and overtaking. My late grandmother had planted it about 20 years ago. So as we pulled that rhubarb up to split off a whole bunch and make ourselves a whole bunch of new propagations, because this is a division plant, we can propagate all those divisions off and make entirely brand new plants, complete replicas of the original mother plant. So we went along a whole entire 20-foot row and had started planting new rhubarb for ourselves, and we propagated about half of these to sell at our market. And being that we sold out of all of our rhubarb and most of our strawberries together, I wanted to make a video and kind of just document how we did this and the whole process of basically pulling these apart, basically just dividing out enough roots that it will survive. You got some crowns coming out there. So we turned this into a brand new plant, and in just a few weeks we've got decent sized rhubarb. It is not huge or thick and fat like the big mother plant that we had. That was probably about 1 inch or 2 thick, and we got tons and tons of harvests off that mother plant. So I wanted to take that plant and divide it out and make a whole new row of the same exact plant and kind of make a rhizome barrier out of all of these roots and kind of break up soil at the same time. So multitasking this rhubarb, it does a lot of work for us. us kind of like our comfrey. We're just propagating it all over. I will bring everybody along once all of our propagations are really flourishing before the end of the winter here, so I can show how well these are all doing. We've had great harvests off of our rhubarb. I wanted to share that information that I had found in my research with everybody at the beginning of the video, just in case there was things you didn't know about this rhubarb plant. And I want to thank everybody for watching this video. If you have any questions, definitely drop it in the comments below. I love hearing everybody's feedback or answering any questions on what I have going on in here.